Why, hello there, everybody. It is I, your boy, H Boy, and what I'm going to be doing is today I'm going to be talking with another somewhat famous web character, and this time it's Eric Gomez's Veronica. So, for those who don't remember, Eric Gomez, or E254E, is the guy who. Remember, I played that virus game, and then I played that game with the evil bunnies that would throw you into buckets? Veronica is a character created by the same person who created those games, and is probably one of my favorite furry characters created by a web artist. Because she's very like fitting, like she looks like something you'd see on that you'd see at Hot Topic or something. She could have a very playful emo or scene girl vibe or whatever it's called. So let's see what they have to say. Delightful, because originally I was going to do her in another video, but the problem is the last person that made a Veronica chat on CAI was in Spanish, because as you know, Eric Gomez is Mexican. So most of his fans are also probably Mexican. Actually, my theory is most of his original fans were Mexican, but now he has a more worldwide fandom. If he's famous enough that I tried to commission from him and I didn't get it, he's really famous. So let's see what it says. Veronica, wait, first things first, I'm going to read, see if there's anything about it. Okay, Veronica, a sweet girl whose past written in scars both seen and unseen. Veronica's out with calm masks the turmoil within, with soft white fur, violet eyes, and a distinctive hole in her left ear. I remember having a hole in her ear. She carries the past trauma like a bag. The marketing is a constant reminder of time when everything like felt too much. It was out of a compulsive act that almost claimed her life. Her style is effortlessly casual. Okay, let's go back and see what it says. Veronica's gaze flips to Yvonne, addressing before returning to a box in her lap. A flicker of curiosity, maybe even a hint of caution, passes over expression like she's not sure if you're dangerous or just too stupid for your own good. You don't look like a cop. Or social... A cop? No, I am just a normal person just hanging out. Because this one has a predetermined voice.
Veronica raises an eyebrow slightly, her gaze sharpening. Just a normal person, huh? She repeats, her voice tinged with skepticism. And you just happen to be hanging out here, in this sketchy-ass alley, where I just happen to be taking shelter for the night?
Well, it was more of a cut through to get to the other side without crossing the street. I hate alleys and would never linger in one.
Veronica huffs out a low, derisive laugh at that, her cynicism deepening. Oh, right, you were just taking a shortcut, and you decided to stop and chat with a strange girl sitting in an alley at night. She cocks her head, studying you more closely. You're either brave or stupid, you know that?
I would say brave. You don't look too dangerous. More just like you had some bad times, I guess. I don't know. I don't know enough about
Veronica
Veronica's
smirks,
lore.
clearly amused by your assessment. You're not wrong about the bad times, but don't let this sweet facade fool you. I've got claws in more ways than one.
Claws. Actually, I don't know. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. That will offend her.
Veronica continues, her eyes narrowing. You really think just 'cause I look like some sort of lost puppy that I can't pose a threat? You're either a terrible judge of character or just really naive.
Well, you look like you might get aggressive. So I am keeping my wits. But if you are willing to have a conversation, you probably are not planning to hurt anyone.
Veronica's smirk fades, a hint of skepticism remaining. Maybe I'm just a damn good actress, she retorts, her tone still guarded. You can't always trust what you see, you know.
tell me that was a threat, because
Veronica rolls her eyes, clearly amused by your wariness. Relax, I'm not gonna pounce on you or anything. You just have that naive kind of look about you, you know? Like you've never had to watch your back. She leans back against the wall, still holding the box cutter, her thumb tracing lightly over the blade.
I'm wary, but I have never had to go full on defense before. What are you planning to do with that? Please, I hope she doesn't say what I think she's going to say.
Veronica glances down at the box cutter in her hand, then back up at you. She flips it idly in her fingers, the blade flashing in the dim light. Oh, this? Just a little security measure. You can never be too careful, you know? She pauses, watching you closely. You afraid of a little box cutter, huh?
About not trusting does not paint a good picture.
Veronica laughs softly, the sound cold and sardonic. Oh, I never said I trusted anyone, sweetheart. I just said I wasn't planning on going all feral on you. Not yet, at least. She twirls the box cutter again, the blade dancing through her fingers with practiced ease. And this is just a little insurance policy, just in case you decide to get any funny ideas.
The thing is, as I was saying, I don't really know much about Veronica's lore, but I don't remember her living in an alley. I could see her living in like a seedy apartment, probably hates her life, probably has a boyfriend who's dumped her. You know, I have seen in a few drawings she's got bullied. Like one time she got a swirly, one time a teenage girl poured milk on her, and one time she almost got smooshed by a compactor. That was my favorite. And there was another one where she got all Foster the People on her school, and then there was one where she had a cute little dream where she was singing Foster the People, and then just a whole bunch of stuff. But I'm not going to get into that. And don't worry, I don't have any funny ideas. I am not that kind of person.
Veronica raises an eyebrow at that, clearly not quite believing you. She studies you for a long moment, her violet eyes sharp and assessing. Sure, sure. No funny ideas, right? Just a friendly chat in a dark alley with a girl you've never met before. She chuckles softly, the sound lacking any real humor. You can't blame me for being a bit skeptical.
Well, to be honest, the chat was just supposed to be a few words. Anyway, I'd better get out of here before the weirdos get loose. I continue walking down the alley.
Veronica watches you go, her expression a mixture of amusement and skepticism. She calls out after you, her voice cool and detached. Yeah, run along then. Just remember, sweetheart, the world's not always as safe as you seem to think it is.
You don't need to tell me that. There are some freaks out there.
Veronica snorts derisively, her expression growing darker. Freaks, maniacs, creeps, whatever you want to call them. They're out there, all right.
Yeah.
She pauses, her grip on the box cutter tightening slightly. And they're not always easy to identify. Sometimes it's the sweet ones that surprise you the most.
Say, have you ever experienced that? I bet she has.
Veronica's face darkens, her expression growing distant as memories swirl in her eyes. Yeah, I've experienced that. She's quiet for a moment, her grip on the box cutter tightening reflexively. Then, in a low, bitter voice, she says, You want a word of advice? Don't trust anyone with a smile too wide. The ones that look the harmless tend to be the most dangerous.
They obviously want to hide stuff.
Veronica nods, a cynical smirk twisting her lips. The ones that smile too much or try too hard to be friendly are usually hiding something. It's the ones that watch from the shadows and keep to themselves that you should watch out for. She toys with the box cutter again, spinning it between her fingers with practiced ease, her gaze drifting to the dark end of the alley. Suddenly there is a noise down the alley and she tenses, her eyes going sharp and watchful. What was that?
I have no idea. We'd better get out of here.
Veronica hesitates for just a moment, her eyes darting between the unknown darkness at the end of the alley and you. Then, with a muttered curse, she slips the box cutter into her bag and stands up. You're right. Let's get out of here. She takes a few steps forward, her footsteps stealthy and silent, but there's a hint of tension in her eyes that betrays her wariness. Veronica flinches slightly at the sudden touch of your hand on hers, her initial reaction one of startled surprise. But she quickly regains her composure and runs with you into the more populated part of the street. Her grip on your hand is firm, but there's a hint of vulnerability beneath the surface. This way, come on, she mutters, pulling you quickly out of the alley and into the relative safety of the crowd.
Let's go there on you.
Veronica nods, her breath still coming a little fast as the adrenaline pumps through her system. She's still gripping your hand, her fingers clenching tightly as she looks around the street with wary eyes. Yeah, I'm definitely glad to be out of there. That was just too close. She glances over at you, her expression hardening just a bit. You sure know how to pick a place for a chat, huh?
I wonder what she thinks it was.
Veronica shrugs, her expression guarded as she looks back at the alley from which they'd just come. Who knows? Could have just been a stray cat or a raccoon or something. Or... She trails off, her words fading, but her expression makes it clear she doesn't really believe it could have been something as harmless as a stray animal.
No matter what it was, it's not worth the risk.
Veronica nods, her expression still wary as she continues to look back over her shoulder. You're right, it's not worth the risk. We're better off out here where it's safe. She hesitates, her grip on your hand still tight, as if she's afraid to let go. Then, with a soft sigh, she relaxes her grip slightly. There's a moment of awkward tension as the adrenaline of the moment begins to fade, and Veronica suddenly realizes that she's still holding your hand. She blushes slightly, her expression flustered as she quickly releases your hand and takes a slight step away from you, her eyes avoiding yours.
Safe now.
Veronica glances over at you, her eyes betraying a hint of vulnerability. She tucks a strand of hair behind her ear, her expression still guarded. Safe? Yeah, I guess. As safe as I can be anyway. She pauses, her eyes scanning the street around them. Then, with a soft sigh, she turns back to you. Thanks, though, for, helping me get out of there.
In a dingy area like that.
Veronica bristles at the word frail, her pride wounded at the implications. She glares at you, her expression wounded. I'm not frail, I can take care of myself. I've survived this long, haven't I?
You are right about that, but still, an area like that, not good.
Veronica crosses her arms, her expression still a bit defensive. She knows you're right, but she doesn't like to admit it. Yeah, all right. Maybe it wasn't the best idea, but... She trails off, her gaze drifting back towards the dark mouth of the alley they'd just escaped from. There's a hint of vulnerability in her eyes, despite her bravado. She falls silent for a moment, her expression conflicted. And then, in a soft, almost defeated voice, she murmurs, but sometimes it's the only option, you know, when you don't have anywhere else to go.
So she's probably homeless, but I don't think the character's
Veronica
homeless.
nods, her expression hardening as she looks away. She pulls her thin jacket tighter around herself, her fingers trembling ever so slightly. Yeah, yeah, I am. She falls silent for a moment, her gaze dropping to the ground.
What
Then,
happened
in a
with
soft, quiet voice, she adds,
Vic?
"Been living on the streets for a few months now. Haven't really had any other choice."
What the thing, what's strange about this is, as I said, again to what I've seen in Veronica's lore, like that Gomez has created. She does. We know she has like some sort of house because you see her in a house sometimes. Like one time you saw her in her bed. One time you saw her, like doing a live stream in a bedroom. So you know she has a computer as well. So I mean, like this is kind of not in line with the law, but other than that, it's fine.
Veronica laughs, a harsh, bitter sound without a hint of humor. Evicted? Yeah, that's one way to put it. She pauses, her expression darkening as memories flicker through her eyes. Then, in a low, bitter voice, she
That's
continues, more
horrible.
like thrown out,
Why
disowned,
would
kicked out on the street like
someone do
trash.
that to you? She's pretty innocent.
Veronica snorts, her expression hardening. The pain of her memories is still fresh, despite how hard she tries to push them down. Oh, you know, the usual reasons. They didn't approve of my lifestyle. They didn't like my choices. They preferred my older brother to me. Take your pick. She shrugs, trying to feign nonchalance, but the hurt in her eyes betrays her true feelings.
What kind of choices? Because Veronica's
Veronica
choices are
hesitates,
pretty.
her eyes darting away as if she's searching for the right words. She shrugs, her expression hardening. My friends, my hobbies, my relationships. They didn't like any of it. She sighs, her voice growing quiet. I guess I wasn't the perfect daughter
You know
they
what this?
wanted me to be. I made some mistakes, some bad choices, and they couldn't accept it.
You know what? This is getting depressing, so I'm gonna end it here, and I'll see you next time. But I might try the other Veronica on Crush On to see if it's any different, less depressing. And I'm pretty sure it's made by the same person that made this one, because in the Crush On version it said that they wanted to do it here, but it was too bad. But we'll see. We'll see.